April is National Autism Awareness Month. 1 in 68 children are now diagnosed with autism. Diane Meyer Christensen has dedicated her life to promoting understanding and kindness since the diagnosis of her son, Jackie, who is now 14 years old. Her new book called Planet A Mother's Memoir of Autism Spectrum Disorder. She's joining us now this morning. Diane, good morning to you.
Thank you. Good morning.
This is your 5th book.
It is.
And it's actually your first nonfiction book. You've written fiction in the past and always kind of about understanding children with special needs in some cases. Tell me what led you to share your personal story with Jackie. Well,
in the past year or so, I began kind of getting into chat rooms of adults that had autistic children. And I noticed that a lot of those people felt very alone and isolated. But the thing is that a lot of what they were struggling with were things that I had already been through. And so this book is kind of for them to know that they're not alone in this. Right. But it's also to create awareness about what high-functioning autism spectrum disorder really is.
What was it like? Many parents are very reluctant to accept a diagnosis of their child because they just don't want their kids to be different from the other kids. Right. But in reality, we're all different. Right. What was it like for you in the path to accepting Jackie on the autism spectrum and in living with that?
Yeah. Before he had the actual diagnosis, there were other things that happened, other red flags. And so, we were progressively moving towards something that I knew was going to be something deeper. And so when the diagnosis actually came, there was a little sense of relief because it was like, well, now I have an answer. Right. And I grew up with my own neurological difference, dyslexia. And so for me, it was a little bit easier to embrace what was going on.
All right. When in this book, you give many different examples of life with Jackie and dealing with those experiences. One of them is going to trick-or-treating with your son. Talk about that, because a lot of parents will see a child and they think, well, that kid's just out of control, right, and not behaving, and certainly mom must be the problem here and not raising her child right.
That's right. It's true.
Talk about how you get through that and what you want other parents to know.
Yeah, I think our biggest struggle, and a lot of parents with ASD kids, especially the high functioning autism, is that we really feel misunderstood and judged. And that's tough for us. We walk this dichotomy of, on one hand, we want our kids to fit in, but on the other hand, we're constantly having to explain why they don't. And so, you have these dreams for your child, and mine was Halloween. That was my big fun thing that I looked forward to. And he was so afraid to go out, so afraid to approach other people. And it could turn into this, crazy rebellion and anger that would, like you say, it looks like a child who's just misbehaving. Right. But really, this was this internal struggle that he had. So you kind of have to come to the point where you're willing to give up your dreams and just focus on what is best for them and what they want.
Part of becoming a parent.
It really is.